Welcome to Chik Chat, the podcast where the girl with many titles talks about life, the good and the bad, and everything around it. We're going to sit, chat, share life stories and experiences, from business to relationship. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chik Chat podcast. This week I am joined by Adesola. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. This morning, as you know, isn't the most exciting morning and things keep going wrong. So I'm going to try and focus on the positives, and we'll start with how we normally do. So we'll start with a tip of the week or a challenge of the week. We'll go in the middle and do how you're actually doing, and then finish off with a win of the week. So introduce yourself first and then tell us what your challenge of the week or tip of the week is.
So my name is Adesola. I'm Nigerian. I moved to the UK early this year to pursue my master's in international marketing, and I'm also working part-time as a content assistant at CF Marketing. Whoop whoop. My challenge of the week. I don't really have any challenges. Am I allowed to say that?
I know, as someone that works on my content in particular, you definitely have challenges.
Oh, okay. My challenge is my client doesn't want to record some B-rolls and I have to reschedule them. So that's extra work for me. Yay.
There you go. So, and that's an interesting one. And to be fair, so for those of you that aren't familiar with Adesola or like her being CFM, a few months ago, I was looking, it was very much like Snejana's. And by the time you guys are watching / listening to this, you'll have seen Snejana's podcast as well. But basically, I had gone the traditional routes of looking for people to work within CFM, and the quality of people was just not great. Either they weren't comfortable with social media, and I needed it specifically to be TikTok and Instagram, or they had experience, but there was just something lacking. Like they didn't follow specific instructions. Like I made sure, when I put the ad on, I'd said reply with this, start off with this, because you want to make sure that people are reading and not just applying for stuff and know what they're doing. So you and Snejana were specifically from TikTok, and then Shantae, my EA, was she follows us on TikTok, Twitter, and then Instagram, and just happened to be if you're looking for an EA, and I just put out for an ad for an EA, and I was like, happy days, yes. So yeah, we met because of one, content creation, two, TikTok, which I don't think many people get to say that, because on your end, you're saying I got my job because I saw some girl on TikTok, and I'm like, I've got
Don't believe me.
Yeah, from TikTok, and they're all like, what? But how does that work? So how have you found all that?
Honestly, it's been an amazing journey. Not even because it's you. I keep telling people that I'm so blessed. I don't even know how to just explain it. Because when I tell people I got my job through TikTok, they're like, huh? How? I don't know. And then we clicked immediately.
Yeah.
I told my mom about you. Before I got the job, I was like, oh, this person is exactly who I want to be when I'm 29. Because we were 29 then. And I was like, she's living my dream life. She's a content creator. She has her own marketing agency. Because it's been my dream to also have a marketing agency and stuff like that. Because I'm doing international marketing. I'm doing social media. I'm doing contemporary issues in marketing. So I'm learning more so I can just bring my knowledge into this business I'm working with. And it's just been crazy being able to join both my professional life and my education together, and you've been so encouraging. I don't know whose boss is going to ask them to get a side hustle, do it. Literally, you encouraged me to start doing UGC, and it's just been crazy. You were like, oh, I like your, and the whole CFM team. So, oh God, I love everyone on the team because they're so encouraging. It's just the random things, oh, I'm obsessed with your page. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? And then you guys encouraged me so much that I just started the journey 2 months ago. And it's been a wild ride because I told you I got my first paid brand deal. I was like, what? it's just been like ever since I met you, like even if like so many things in my life, I've been like, like because adjusting to a new country is crazy,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But like I came here and like I met you, and it's just been, getting higher, and it's just been really good. So
I'm
I'm really
glad.
grateful for
Well,
that
obviously that
one TikTok.
exactly, but I think that's all the type of stuff that obviously anyone would want to hear. But like you said, that's your challenge for me as your client is
Mhm.
getting me to do some of the stuff that you want me to do. And we've just sat and had a strategy call. And I'd say my challenge is I have to I I have to focus on removing the emotion out of everything, but being a constructive leader, but also someone that you're comfortable being open with. Because I know that you've been going through life. You might not have told me specifically what it is, but I can tell by how you communicate the level of your work, like what's done and what's not done. But also, it's my job to make sure that you understand that when life is life in, you're not on your own. So that's why even when there are frustrations that do happen, like I was saying to you guys, I have to remind myself that the reason that I sometimes feel frustrated is because the business is growing, you guys are growing. I genuinely really do believe in you. So even if I feel frustrated or something happens, because again, like to you, I'm your client. To Snejana, Keelan's her client and she's doing CFM stuff. To Jonah, Benjamin's a client. But then you're working with me in the capacity of you've also been seeing everything that goes on in the sides of how I work with other clients like Garrett and how I try and manage all of that. So not only am I accountable to you for content and what my content's going to look like and how I'm leveling up, I also have to be accountable to the rest of the team for how the business is run and how things are being done. So like today I was able to say, do you know what? I can't even lie. As much as I'd want to do all these things, I know for a fact it's not going to happen. So let's see what I've got on my camera roll, what we've got for B-rolls. We've been putting loads of things in place where I can be like, we've got stuff ready to go. I can leave you to it and trust that you can make the edits that are needed. Like if anything, Pia trusts you to do the edits. That's a huge thing because Pia would normally be like, I'll just do it. So it shows me that one, I've got a team that as long as I keep nurturing you and trying to be the best leader that I can, you'll keep growing. Obviously you've got your side hustles and so on. I can't lie. Obviously I want CFM to be first, but I've been in your position and I've seen what that looks like and I'd rather grow with you as a person than say to you can't do XYZ because that's why I've left some of the clients I've worked with. If they'd have just given me the chance to prove what more I could do, show what more I could do. That's why I want you to have that side hustle because if you can see what that looks like and the stresses you're having, you can see what that looks like for me, where all of a sudden I've got 6 of you going, Chick, I need you to check this and do this. And I've already got my own to-do list and a priority list for the week. And then I'm going, like, it's those things that if you can learn it on your own, I think there's a point where I can explain it all to you, but until you live it, it's different. Until it's your baby, it's completely different. But that's why you can go, okay, I know what Chick's vision is. I know what my vision is. I know what I need to learn and like how I need to figure things out. Let's then be okay with that. And it's never affected our relationship because I've said to you, if the work's been done as it needs to be done, you'll keep getting hours. If it's not being done the way it needs to be done, we'll change things up and see how we can make it get to the level we want it to. But you know what my end goal is. You know the dreams I've got for CFM now, like the studio that I want, all those things, and where you fit into that. So yeah, I think for me, like you're saying, it's crazy that we met on TikTok, but also crazy that we can have shared values, we can have shared views. Like I was saying, I think that our next client was made for Snejana. I think you were made for me. We were made for each other. So I think that that's even where like there's that because I've been able to take a step back. I can genuinely sit there and go, who do I think is going to be best placed to have these types of clients? Who do I think is going to be best placed to help with strategies of any? Because we'll still get involved with everyone else, but how amazing is it that we get to grow something together and also separately, but know that we're supporting each other, we're helping each other. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
Crazy. So what made you want to do marketing in the first place, but also international marketing? Because that takes it up another level.
Yeah. So I studied geology. I'm a geoscientist. Like I'm a science student. And then during the COVID lockdown, I got really bored. And I was just like, ugh, I signed up on TikTok and then I did the Hubstaff training, I did Google training, and then I just started getting really into like marketing. And I was like, this is weird. No one in my family does this.
Yeah.
We're like science oriented. And I was like, I mean, I do have my degree in this, but I can also, my parents are very encouraging. So when I was like, I wanted to apply for digital marketing. Okay, no, before that, I started working as a social media marketing assistant. It was a volunteer role. I wasn't
Yeah.
getting paid. I did that for about 6 months and then they promoted me, took me on part-time. And then I used that experience, used it to apply for another job, got it, used that experience to apply for another job, got it. And then I was like, you know what, take this to a bigger scale. And my mom was already like, oh, do you want to do your master's? Do you not want to do your master's? I was like, yeah, I want to do my master's, but not in what you think I want to do. Because now I've fallen in love with social media
Yeah.
and I see the way the world is moving to virtual life. Like during COVID, you could see it. You could see that switch, the change. Meetings. We're on Zoom right now.
Yeah.
You're in Belfast, I'm in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
We're communicating. So the
Yeah.
world is moving virtually. And I wanted to I thought of like doing my initial application was for digital marketing. And then the agent that was helping me out was like, yeah, but like, what about if you do it on a bigger scale and you can work anywhere in the world? Because my agent is someone I knew and knew that I love to travel. I love
Yeah.
going to new places. I'm like, if you do international marketing, you have the degree that can make you work anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Work anywhere in the world with it. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. So that was it. It was just like I was like, and my mom was like, I don't know how you switched from science to
Yeah.
now you're doing marketing on TikTok. I was like, well, such is life. You're allowed to have, you know how you always say you're multi-passionate? I always
Yeah.
say that. Because like I remember I was like, I low-key have had this in me. Because like the summer before I went into uni, I did like photography school for a
Yeah.
whole thing. It's like, who does that randomly?
Yeah.
So I've had like the photography training, I've had videography training. So I was like, I guess I just put it together with the marketing I was having. I was like, yeah, let's make it into my live stream.
Exactly. But do you know what's even better about that? I think that's why I was saying that we were made for each other. My throat's killing. But because I was the same as you. I was going to do biomedical engineering, and then my mum and dad were like, "You want to do biomedical sciences, but you're doing business stuff. Should you
Yeah.
maybe try and find something a little bit like halfway, and then figure out what you want to do?" So that's how I ended up doing my undergrad in business and enterprise management, and then it's the blog that got me to start like focusing on content creation, all that side of it. Obviously, with the like mostly muffins a business, but it's funny how those things work out because, like you're saying, I like how you think because it's how I think. How can you put the things that you love together to make
Yeah.
one thing? But also, like you're saying, the fact that we are in two separate places. Would this be easier to have a podcast and record everything live and have it look aesthetically pleasing and blah blah blah? Of course it would, but that doesn't suit my life model. It doesn't suit my business
Yeah.
model and the team's business model because we're all around. Like we've currently got someone in Jamaica, you're in Portsmouth, London, Philippines, across the
Okay.
Philippines. So
Yeah.
it's last week I was in like 4 cities at once. So it's I want to keep doing that, but find a way that makes it work. And I think, like you're saying, when you keep looking at things that you're passionate about and putting them together,
Yeah.
in this day and age, you can make anything out of it if you've got that
Yeah.
mindset. And actually, this leads us into the next part of, like, how are you actually doing, like mentally, physically, like how is life?
Okay, so last month, I'm just so glad October is over. It was such a stress. I had like a really emotional time, and because like I had to move out of my aunt in
Oh,
London because it was just like a whole thing. It was unnecessary, and then it's a whole thing that she just asked me like, oh, I don't feel comfortable living with you anymore, and this is supposed to be a temporary thing, which wasn't
as
what we agreed
if.
on. I was like, you agreed for like the whole because my plan, I already had the plan. I already made the plan. I was like, once I'm done, I'm moving to Belfast. Like I already started doing research and stuff. So I was like, we had this plan already. We discussed this plan, and then you're changing your mind. And it was just like I had to like, you know what, I'm moving, but because like I'm lucky enough to have people I stay with in Portsmouth.
Yeah,
I'm settled in Portsmouth. I'm good in Portsmouth. But like London was for like family, for church and stuff. So
yeah.
I had to like move, and then I was just crying the whole time. Hi G.
Adesola says hi. He says I.
I was crying. It was like a whole thing, very emotional. My mom was, and I'm a very emotional person. Like if I'm angry, if I'm upset, I'm crying.
Yeah.
But I don't have to be like sad to cry. I
Yeah.
cry about everything. So it was like a really hard time for me. And then I was like, and then I was regretting moving to the UK. I was like, I
Oh,
was in Nigeria. I had a job. I had a car. I was set living with my parents. I mean, I would never, and now somebody, it was, even getting into it now, it's so emotional.
oh,
It was
that,
just really hard for me then. And then I was just like, my mom was so upset because she was like, oh, I'll never do this to someone's
yeah,
child in a
exactly.
random country. And like, she was like, oh, like you have 2 weeks to leave. I
Wild.
was like, what is happening? And then I was like, I just went back, packed up my stuff. I was like, I'm so glad I have like somewhere I'm staying because like imagine if I had just been
Yeah,
stranded.
yeah,
Like, imagine having to start looking for a place. I was like, it's fine. I'm moving to Portsmouth. I was like, I barely even am ever here, anyways. I was the only reason I was there is because it was the summer break. So I was in
yeah,
London. So I was just like, yeah, I was like, you know what? The life moves on. I was like, thank you for accommodating me this past few months. And
yeah,
let's just move on with our lives. It's
yeah,
very sad. My mom's cousin was like, oh, I should come stay with her in London. I was like, I'm not in London.
yeah,
I'm in school. And once I'm done with school, like 2 days after the Christmas school lectures are done, I'm going to Scotland to see my sister. And
yeah,
I'm back just in time for school too. I'm like, I'm barely even going to be in London. So there's no,
yeah,
so I was like, let me just settle in Portsmouth for now. Just it was just a very trying time, and it's just something I never experienced. And
yeah,
it just made me just think that I would never do this to any of my friends or any of
yeah,
my family member. And I was like,
yeah,
once I'm just settled, once I'm working full time, I'm just gonna get my own place and just make sure that in case any of my cousin or my family wants to come, like they have someone they're coming to meet. Do you understand?
yeah, yeah,
I don't want anyone to go through. I was like, this is such a horrible feeling. And I
yeah.
was like,
That is horrible.
I don't wish this on my worst enemies. It was just very hard for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think the worst part as well is when it's family. And it's like,
Yeah.
I know what our cultures are like. And in my culture, would have been the same that if I was moving to another country, my parents would have, in the past, probably gone, go and stay with family. Like, you'll be safer there, whatever else. And then when it doesn't work, if it doesn't work, that's why I'd always said, as much as my parents sometimes have been annoyed at me wanting to be super independent,
Yeah.
I saw life, saw I wanted independence. My auntie
So
always used
true.
to say to me, be able to afford everything on yourself. So if you have a flatmate, great, but be able to afford everything because people let you down, things happen. And I was in a similar situation to you where I'd moved in with a friend and then before their contract was even up, she was like, I have to move out. And at first I was like, are you being serious? We're in a contract. And then I just thought, do you know what? I already know I can afford to live here on my own. I can make it work. It's gonna happen. So and the funny thing is, like in you talking about all of that, this is the whole point of like why I like doing the check-ins because for me, you are someone that works with me and for me. So I have to be able to go. I don't know, like up until now, I didn't know exactly what had happened. I just knew you
Yeah.
weren't
Yeah,
being
but you
yourself.
knew something was up.
Yeah. So I have to be able to be like check in and be like, is everything okay? You're not how you normally like are, but also understand that where I've got my own stuff going on, like I ended up, without going into too much detail, I had to make a decision as well with a family member that made me uncomfortable. But it basically meant that I've caused a little bit of beef that I wasn't planning on doing, but I just chose to do. I chose to do me. I chose something that was easier for me. And yeah, it doesn't look nice to other people. And it's like, yeah, but you don't always understand like things back and forth. And I think we're at that, like I just turned 30 and it's like, I'm not a child anymore. If I
Yeah.
explain that I need something or want something or this is what's happening, it's now on both of us to make things work. So I've been struggling a little bit with that recently, and obviously turning 30 and like things have been really busy and the business growing. But on all of that, I always have to remind myself, like today I've been like this week, if anything, I looked back at the vlog videos I've done for Pia. I think I've done like 5 videos in the last 2 days, 3 days, and it's not a lot. Like you see what my folders look like. And I was like, all I keep hearing is me being negative and be like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. And I am overwhelmed, but
Yeah.
that overwhelming, like I said, when I sit and think about it, it's coming from the fact that the business is growing, I'm dealing with life, but also I'm dealing with a team where everyone has their own things going on. everyone's going through their own thing, and I can't put my stuff on you, just as obviously the rest of the team can't put their stuff on us. But there has to be a way that we have to find that we can work. So we've put in things like an SOS. You've got your lowercase SOS if like you're struggling a little bit, you might need some help. If you I've sent one big SOS to be like, I can't cope, I'm ill. I was so ill, but you guys have been going. But those are the types of things where it's like, I understand that not everyone wants to talk about the things that they're going through as they're doing that. I've had over the last few months different people message about different things, and it's like, okay, you might not want the rest of the team to know, but as long as I know, then I can make accommodations. Like, it's not that I'm trying to make anyone look like they're not doing the job, but that's why we help each other. So that's why I'm hoping that as we do build this and see like life going on, and like you've talked about potentially wanting to be in Belfast one day, you can see what that can look like and what a team looks like, where you're going, okay, we have to take everyone into account, as well as our families, as well as clients, as well as the team, because it quickly gets overwhelming. And when you've got school on top of that, and just things where you're going, I just want to sit and cry, and you don't even have the time to cry, and it's like, yeah, completely get that. And I'm sorry you're going through all that as well, because it is rubbish.
Yeah, went through all that. I'm good now.
Yeah, you're on the other side. But you know what? If Sejana was here, Sejana would be like, October was about leaving things behind. That it's exactly. So true. This eclipse and whatever's going on, like, it's a very intense time. But I very much do feel like the things that are happening for a reason, and also to get us to a point where we can be the best versions of ourselves. We can put ourselves first. We don't have to keep doing things for other people.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Love that. Okay, so then obviously you've talked about like struggling with life and whatever else. How do you find, I suppose, thank you. Do you know what? I think for every podcast I've recorded for the next few weeks, G's come in to bring me a cup of tea. And I've never acknowledged it until now, but obviously you've met him, so you know.
Yeah, it's tough life, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, well, how have you found seeing, because I suppose we didn't know each other. You could easily go through my TikTok and see like me talk about everything in life, as I could stalk you. How have you found that process then of you knowing that you're a content creator and want to be a content creator of a particular form, coming into it where you've got me that you work with on my content, but also seeing the way that the agency is? Because I think that a lot of people have a perceived notion of what they think things are going to look like, especially in an agency. But I'd say what we do, I've not seen anyone else have a business and do things the way that we do. So yeah, how have you found that whole process?
To me, it's been really helpful, because being the content assistant and learning under you, because you trained us first.
Yeah.
So learning has helped me in my content creation journey. I think I shared my Excel sheet once of like, I was like, you made me so organized.
Yeah.
I'm not an Excel girly. And then I created an Excel for brands I want to reach out to. So it's just like you put a system in place, and it's different and it's easy to adapt, and you give the free will. Like the other day when we were the notes, you were like, arrange this any way you want. In the way that makes sense for you, because you're the one working on it. And like you said earlier today, is that each client is different, and you can't treat everybody as the same. That's one thing I've learned in CFM. Every client is different, and same way I treat each brand that I work with as different. Can't have the same format, can't have the same message. Even if you're doing the same product type, different format for different brands. So I think that's one thing I've learned, is that no two things are the same, no two businesses are the same, no two people are the same. And the good thing is, at CFM, we have different personalities. But we're also similar in some ways. But the different personalities come together to make like just this beautiful thing. And even like in your content creation, like you always say you're the less curated side of social media, and I love it. And it makes it easier. Like sometimes I just overthink before I post them. Oh, this little thing, that little thing, and this. I'm just like, and then I go on your feed. I'm like, la 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 la. I'm like, it's not so hard. Just do it. I'm like, she just picks up the phone in bed and she's recording. I'm like, it's not so deep. Like the other day, when I went to Bournemouth, I told you I did like a mini vlog
Yeah.
on TikTok, and then I was trying to do like a voiceover, and then I kept on redoing it and redoing and redoing, and then I just like, you know what? I don't even care. I just like said it, and even when my friend was talking, I was like, I'm trying to record a voiceover, and people loved it. I was like, look at it. You
Yeah.
just put the damn thing, man. And you said like even in the 30 days challenge, I've been learning so much. I watched this. I watch them like I'm not the one that edits them.
But
Like I
even
want to
better
just
for
like
me.
just post it. Just post it. It's
Yeah.
not just because if you overthink it, you're not just gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I used to do that. Like I posted twice in a week last week on my Instagram. Oh god, I hate posting on my Instagram so much.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. Because I'm like, oh people, I know the people there.
Yeah.
This is
You
where
make the
brand, and I've gotten like inbound through it. I was like, yeah, because people are
holiday.
saying I do got one this morning while we were in our meeting. I got an email. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna later. Because they were like, oh, we saw your content and da, 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 da. I'm like, oh, thank you. That's for later. But like and the one thing I've also learned from CFM is just being able to have a work-life balance.
Yeah.
That's it. Because you encourage that. I love the way you take like Tuesdays off. And did you notice I didn't text you on Tuesday throughout?
You're doing really well. So I had Snejana, Pia only text for like a quick clarification of something.
Mm.
And then I think Snejana forgot. But even then, it wasn't like a long thing because, like I said, she ended up making me laugh because she got G and a client mixed up. But we're doing a lot better because, but I think I'm starting to be better at setting those boundaries as well. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, I shouldn't have replied. I replied and I chose to reply. But I know that moving forward, like the other week, Shantae was like, "Don't forget Chick's unavailable." She didn't do that this week, so again, you're not going to remember
Yeah.
if that's not done.
I put once Shinte said last week, I just put it like on my calendar. Chick is off on Tuesday. So I just put it all day. So it's just
Yeah.
there on my phone. Nope. I'll just go to Pia. I
But
was
that's
like, there's a
what
reason for this.
But that's what I love as well because I'm finding, like you say, on your end, like it's helping with like organization and little like other little bits. But even for us, it helps me and Pia create a system that works because again, our manager is in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Like where me and you can be like, okay, we can meet up. Like you did the West Coast Cooler campaign with me, which was amazing. I loved that. And
I love
you've definitely pushed me outside of my comfort zone in the sense of like how I create some content. You should see me walking around with my vlogging camera now. I'm literally like, oh, just like I'm literally like, where everyone like I don't even care. Sometimes I forget I'm recording and I see
I
people
love
staring and I'm like, why are they staring? I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this camera just in front of me.
Yeah.
Weird. Like me and you were in Tesco and you just like put the tripod on one of the Tesco aisles. We run around the corner, then walk
Yeah.
as if we're just scrolling through. But you also went into Spa like on your own and created, and I think those are the types of things where, like you're saying, I might give you like systems and whatever, but we all help
Yeah.
each other because we're different types of content creators. We look
Yeah.
at things differently, and like you said, no two people are the same. So none of our packages are ever going to be the same because every client has a particular skill set, doesn't always know exactly what they want, and it's on us to figure it out. But also, they need different results. So
Yeah.
where we might sell social media management, the social media management is going to look different for everyone. Most of our clients now have content creation or optimization as well as social media management because they know that after they start doing our social media management, they're like, actually, I don't want to create this. Could you
Yeah.
do the captions? Could you do so on? And that's why, like, I'll push you and get you to do, like, you've been doing the captions for the 30-day challenge. Like, there's a reasoning and all of those things that I get you guys to do. Sometimes I might not explain it at the beginning and say why, but all I know, and actually, one of my friends, when I was in Barcelona, her partner, he's a freelance designer for websites. And when me and him were talking, so they've got a newborn baby, we were talking, and he made me realize that again, me being the one that has the business and potentially G's going to be the one that stays at home, my thinking is very different to like G's thinking. And again, my friend's partner, he thinks differently to his partner, my friend, because
Yeah.
she's the one that looks after the baby the majority of the time and also works part time. So where I'm looking at everything as like the future, like I'm thinking of where's CFM going to go? Where's my content journey going to take me? How am I going to step out? I'm looking way ahead, whereas you're in the day to day, but those are the things you're thinking about. So I've also had to start being like, okay, I need to think in your mindset of you're looking at where we are this week, next week, going in the next few weeks. Whereas I'm like, I'm already in next year. For
Yeah.
content, I'm already in December going, do I need to buy a Christmas tree this week? What's it going to look like? When am I going to wait to do that? What's the content going to look like? And that's just on content. And that can be a full-time job before it's even, we look at the agency stuff and the side of what
Yeah.
we're doing for all of that. So yeah, I definitely do find it interesting how we all do push each other and what we are creating. But it's nice to get that feedback as well because I think one as a black woman, you're always going to be judged no matter what you're doing and things that you do. But I've seen loads of people. I was on Twitter the other day looking at this thread, and people were like, "Black women when they're in charge are the worst in the world," and I'm like, I don't
We
want
can't
to be that
win.
person.
We literally can't win.
Honestly, and that's where I'm like, as long as you guys are happy within the team, and like I find a way where I can turn around and go Tuesdays and Fridays I'm off.
Yep.
Weekends, yes, I might have to work, but I've set Sundays as like a more of a working day, like half working, half not. But if we can figure that out together, and we can, and I think that's why I like having a small business, because if something's not working for us, that's why the SOS system came in. Because I realised no matter how much I tell you what's going on in my life and cry and whatever, you need to go through your own things in life and like figure out when you want to talk about things. And
Yeah.
when you're ready, you will talk about it. But as you're not ready, I can't force you to do that. So SOS came in and it works because we don't need to know what's happening. We just know that there are two levels. It's either
Yeah.
I'm really struggling or I'm kind of struggling, but I think I'm okay for now.
I think the Tuesdays and Friday taking it off for you is such a good thing because I used to text you before like you're meant to be off today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, archive the whole chat, archive everyone. Don't reply any
Yeah.
messages, but you still do it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think
But you're
that,
better now. I like it because eventually, like the goal is for you to be able to take time off, take
yeah,
a month off without having to do anything. So it's a good first step. And you're
exactly.
improving. I love it.
And it is, like you're saying, it's a step-by-step process, but I can only do that because of you guys. So that's where like there always has to be some give and take, and that's why the transparency is
Yeah.
there that is there. Because again, on the reason I've said Fridays now is because if anything, I've realised that there's a way for us to make more money. But if I'm in the day to day, I can't sit there and think creatively and look at what can be put in place. Whereas
Yeah.
on a Tuesday, I get really creative. Like look at my TikTok yesterday. I think I put on like 4 videos
Yep.
and I'm really creative, and it's like, okay, I'm creative, but this should be a rest day, and I'm still struggling at taking like the whole day off. But that's where I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, if Friday's the day where I'm looking at everything as a whole, I'm getting really inspired. Do the business planning, think about everything we've got to do, and then I can record content, I can do whatever else, but I'm not getting those texts. Whereas Tuesdays is just for me. So it's yeah, it's really nice even just having that knowing of okay, I'm going to eventually get there, even if I'm not there right now. We've started and we're making that progress.
Yeah. I
Love
love
it.
it.
Okay, so we've got like 5 minutes left, and I'm pretty sure this will be a bit
I
longer than
say
we
love it
anticipate.
because of you.
Pardon?
Like I always pick up things from people and then I was like, love it. And you were like, love it. I was like, oh, so it's from you. I got that.
That's funny. I've noticed my niece has started to pick up some of our little sayings because here they say we a lot. So you like give me a wee bag, give me a wee
Oh,
phone, or like wee
yeah.
guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And because my brother and sister-in-law like love some of like the accents and stuff that's said here, they're like she started picking up some of the things herself. Crazy.
So cute.
Okay, okay, we will end on what is your win of the week?
My win of the week is not gonna lie, this podcast. It was good just like talking it out and like just looking and seeing how far it's been, how far I've come personally, and as part of the team also. It's
Yeah,
been really good. So I love it.
I love that. I think my win's similar, but in the sense that don't get me wrong, like I said, I've been overwhelmed and there's a lot going on. Even actually, one of the voiceovers I did for you, I was talking about when I was away last week and being like, everyone needs you at once. And it's like, I'm now thinking, what's that going to be like as if I become a mum? Because there's going to come a point where I've seen most women that are in business go back to work after like 2 months. And it's
Yeah,
like, I've got a girl I follow on TikTok. I love her, but she's doing an 18-month maternity leave because her partner can afford to give her that.
love it.
Yeah, And it's like, okay, well, if I'm putting that in, I got really stressed last week. I was like, oh my God, everyone needs me at once, including my niece. And I want to be present for everyone, but I can't be present for everyone. I've got to start prioritizing. So I guess my win at the moment is, yes, things are overwhelming and sometimes are frustrating, but I don't think where in the past my emotions would have led me more and I've maybe said something rash or shown my frustration a lot. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to show my frustration sometimes. If it needs to be there, I'll be like, okay, I expect better, like these things should be better. But that's because, like I've said, it's actually that I want the best for like you guys and the business, because without all of us, there's no CFM. So for us to all survive and to earn money and do the things that we want to do and travel and whatever, we have to make sure we're perfect. So I think the fact that one, we're doing that and learning, but also no one's falling out, no one's being super negative, no one's doing anything in a way that's affecting anyone in a bad way. That's a really good thing. And to say that we've only worked with each other as a team for a few months as well, like that's, to me, that's crazy. But that's where I'm like, imposter syndrome be gone. Because there are so many people that, like, I was recording with Benjamin, and Benjamin was like, I wouldn't have been able to take time away from my business this quickly. I'm still working on that. We've got clients we work with that can't do what we've just, like, I've just been able to do. So there are such wins that it's like, I need to start sharing more and more of like, the things that we do, because people want this. How, like, I talk about selling without selling. This is selling without selling. How have I just been able to go to Spain for a week or away for a week? How am I sat recording podcasts and doing other things, but our clients are kept ahead? Everything's okay. Like, you guys are working on the analytics reports. I've had nothing to do with that so far. And I'm like, happy days, because by the time I do check, obviously it's just a quick scan over, but peers let me know what's kind of going on. So, yeah, massive win on my end. And yeah, I love it. And I love what we're building and what we're doing.
Yeah, same. I'm very
brilliant. Okay, well, thank you so much for being on. We've now got 10 minutes to our next fun meeting. I need to think about two truths. What is it? Two truths, one
oh
lie?
my God.
Yeah, we'll have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, everyone keep liking, subscribing, commenting, doing everything that you do, because we get to do fun things like this and we get to keep building the business. So thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.